Welcome to Naresh IT Technologies. This is Sudhakar, and today we are going to discuss in this session the SQL Server introduction. Okay, so we will see the introduction of SQL Server, what is SQL Server, and this SQL Server is which kind of tool. Like there are two types of tools are there in real time, like front-end tools and back-end tools. Okay, so SQL Server which comes under which tool, and also this tool was designed by which company, in which year, and this tool why the people are going to using in real time. Okay, so on these points we will go to discuss in this session. Okay, so let us see. Now we will go to start what is SQL Server. Okay, let us check out here the SQL Server introduction now. So basically we can say SQL Server is an RDBMS product. SQL Server is an RDBMS product, and this product was introduced by the Microsoft company in 1989. Okay, so which year it was introduced here? 1989. So it is a RDBMS product and which was introduced by Microsoft company in 1989. Yes or no? And this tool, why the Microsoft company was introduced in the market? Okay, so basically what exactly SQL Server means? Simple, I can say SQL Server is nothing but it is a back-end tool. SQL Server is nothing but it is a back-end tool, and this tool I am going to using this tool to develop your back-end applications. So here back-end application means immediately we are getting some question. That means applications are how many types in real time? Yes or no? So here let us see now there are two types of applications are there in real time industries. Okay, one is front-end side application and second one is back-end side application. Okay, but front-end side application is nothing but we know this. Okay, like Java, .NET. Okay, so these tools are comes under front-end side tools, and when come to database side, which is nothing but back-end tools, is nothing but SQL Server, Oracle, MySQL, DB2. So these kind of tools will comes under your back-end tools. But this front-end and back-end tools, these are very important when you are going to development of your projects. Okay, so here I said SQL Server is a back-end tool which are used for to develop your back-end applications. Okay, but back-end application, how we can say? Okay, how we can say it is a back-end application means simply we will discuss now the front-end application and back-end application, how we can say that and how we can define it was front-end and it was back-end. Okay, I will give the simple way to understand what is front-end and how we can say it is a front-end. In the same to same we will discuss what is backend, how we can say this application is a backend application. Okay, so let us see. I will give one simple question to easily understand to you what is the differences between front end and backend, and how we can call front end, how we can call backend. See now, so what I said here, applications are, okay, I said here applications, again it will be two types now. Okay, majorly it was classified into two types, it was classified, and one is we called as, okay, front end application, and second one we called as a back-end application. Okay, but how we can say it is a front-end and back-end applications means, okay, for the application, okay, if an application which was user directly interacting with that, okay, so whenever the user has a chance to directly interacting with the application, then the application is simply called as a front-end. For example, front-end applications, everything is a front-end. Nowadays we can see in the websites. For example, if you want to Google, so www.google.com, immediately one page will be open. That is called a home page we called. So that is called a front-end page. Otherwise, we are going to Gmail accounts or Facebook accounts. Okay, if you want to open your Gmail and Facebook accounts, immediately we are getting home page. That is called a front-end. And in the home page, we are getting some login pages are there for some websites. So every login page I can treat like it is a front end. Yes or no? In the same to same registration forms also there. Okay, so registration form is also called as a front end. So that means the user can directly interacting with the application is called as a front end. So that means I can touch and I can view. Okay, this is practically it was possible, then it is called a front end application. But let's come to back end application next. in next backend application, what it is here, the backend application, how we can say it is a backend means the user, they cannot directly interact. Okay, so when the user, they cannot directly interact with the application is called as a backend applications. Okay, so in that way you can find out the front end and backend applications. Now for example, are you interacting registration form? Okay, through registration form, what are you doing here? I am going to sending my data, but the data after sending, that means after click on your submit button, what it has happened in the registration form, whatever the information are you entered, that information will go to submit. But the submit of information, where it is submitted means we all of you know. Okay, it will go to submitted under database side. Okay, so that means I can view, I can touch my registration form, but I can't view the whatever the data I am sending through front end side application, the data I can't view in database side, because database side is a backend side, it was having in somewhere. Okay, so that location we can't directly see it. So that's why what we said here, the backend side, whatever the information I am going to storing here, that information will be security, because of the reason the users, they cannot directly interact that application. Okay, so but front end application I can directly interacting here. Okay, so in that way you can identify which one front end and which one back end. So these two application, front end and back end applications, are required in real time when you want to develop your projects. Like for example, one web application I want to develop, one web based project I want to develop. So one web based project I want to develop means I must and should be need these two applications is required. Yes or no? So now, so that's why I'm saying that these two applications, whatever I'm going to interacting in my real time, so these two applications, if I want to develop, I need some tools. Okay, so those tools what we are using into front end side means that all of you know we are using majorly .NET and Java. Okay, so there are some more tools are there in front end side, but majorly, okay, in the market if you want to see, the .NET and Java mostly the people will be preferred. Okay, so these tool I can simply call the front end tools. Okay, when come to back end tool now. Okay, so back end tool is nothing but simply again the back end application if I want to develop, again I need some tools. So how we are using the .NET Java tools to develop your front end side applications in the same to same pattern, if I want to develop my back end side application, again I need some tools, or in that the one of the tool what it is here, SQL Server. And the second one is what now? For example, majorly we are using Oracle. So SQL Server, Oracle and MySQL, DB2, Sybase, Informix, Ingressus, Teradata. So there are so many tools are there, but we are going to using SQL Server, Oracle, which was very related to your .NET and Java. Yes or no? So these are some examples, some best you will be understand. So what are the back end and what is the front end? So these two tools is required when you want to develop your project. So in that one of the tool we are going to discussing in our session, the tool is what now? SQL Server is one of the backend tool which is used to develop your backend application. Okay, so simply I can say what is SQL Server means, simply you can say like SQL Server is an RDBMS product which was introduced by Microsoft company in 1989. And this tool for what purpose why required? Okay, so simply you can say this tool we are going to using to develop the backend applications. And now, so these 2 points we will discuss in this area. Okay, but later on the backend application why we need to develop. For what is the reason to develop your backend application? For the backend application development purpose, what I want to require. After development of backend application, what I can do it? Yes or no? So these are very important to know before I want to start to implementation of your database applications. Okay, so let us see why we need your SQL Server, and SQL Server is a backend we said as of now, but backend application is nothing but what? Through my backend application, what can I do it? The what kind of things I can do it here, that we will discuss now. Okay, let us see now. SQL Server we are going to using, okay, to development of your backend application, So, but this backend application why we want to develop means simply we can say the backend applications are we are developing for storing data, purpose we are going to develop. So whenever I want to store the data in some location, okay, which was security, which will provide more security, and that kind of location is called a database servers. But those database servers, in that database servers, I want to create some applications, okay, in that application I am going to store some data. So whatever we are going to creating the database application in server location, that every database application we will treat as a one backend application. So in that backend application, the main purpose is what now? Storing your data. Okay, so the storing purpose, I need one location where I can store my data with a security manner. So that kind of security facilities also more and more will be provided by your database tools. Okay, so in that one of the tool is what now? SQL Server. Okay, but this SQL Server, if I want to install, the main important what next level, SQL Server, how to install. So when we want to install my SQL Server, then what I want to require. Okay, and SQL Server is a platform independent or dependent, because we know in real time there are two types of platforms are there. One is independent nature and one is dependent nature. So this SQL Server which will comes under platform independent or dependent. That is also very important to know before you want to work with my SQL Server. Okay, so let us see here what I am asking here. SQL Server, if you want to install here, then you must and should be maintained. When I want to install my SQL Server, okay, then I must and should be maintain Windows operating system only. Okay, the Windows operating system only should be maintained, because SQL Server is pure platform dependent product. So that is the reason this tool will be installed only Windows operating system only supportable. Okay, but other than Windows operating system, if you go to any other operating systems, for example Linux, Unix, Solaris, Mac, so these kind of operating systems are not supported your SQL Server. So you should be take a Windows operating system, you should be installed, okay, in your system, and later on you can go to install your SQL Server software. So by this reason, what we want to say, SQL Server is a pure platform. SQL Server is a pure platform dependent product. Okay, but before I want to know and before you want to analyze what is platform dependent and what is platform independent. So before I want to know independent and dependent products, first of all we want to know this, what exactly the definition of platform. So how we can define the platform. Okay, based on that we will discuss whether it is a independent or dependent. So now we can see when come to platform. So simply I was defined platform is nothing but simply it is a combination of operating system plus processor. It is a combination of operating system plus processor. So when we combine together the operating system and processor, then it will be make one environment. So that environment we called as a platform. Okay, so environment means it's like a workstation where the people will be work. So where the people will be developing applications, okay, where the people operations are going on, okay, that environment we called as a workstation, and the workstation we called as a platform. Simple I can define. So this platform how we can generate it means by the combination of operating system plus processor. So any processor with any combination, if you want to integrate together, then it will be rise and it will be provide one platform. Yes or no? In this platform, okay, in this platform, again this platform will be classified into two types. Okay, so now let us see how many types of platforms are there, and each platform we will be discuss, and later you will be get some idea SQL Server is a platform independent or not. Okay, let us see now. Platform is nothing but, okay, the platform is nothing but it is a combination of operating system plus processor. It is a combination of operating system plus processor is called as a platform. Okay, but this platform again classified into two types. Okay, so in that, by first one we call, say the first one we called, okay, platform independent Okay, and the second one we called as a platform dependent. Okay, so these are again the two ways it was classified, independent and dependent. Okay, when come to independent, how we can say my tool was independent? Okay, so simply what we say here, platform independent is nothing but it is a combination of any operating system. It is a combination of any operating system plus it is a combination of any processor. Any processor. So when your tool or software will be installed, when your tool and software will be installed in any processor with the combination of any operating system, then it was called as a platform independent. Okay, so here any processor means simply you can see it like Intel dual core. So any kind of processor you can use it. In the same to same any operating system, for example Windows, Linux, Unix, Solaris, Mac, yes or no, these kind of operating systems you can use it. But any operating system with any processor, simply it is called a platform independent. So for example platform independent, okay, for the best examples what we can say, your Oracle was there. So Oracle is a pure platform independent database product. Yes or no? So this is the best example of your platform independent in backend side I am saying that. So the Oracle is the best database product which is a pure platform independent product. Okay. In the same to same when come to platform dependent. When come to platform dependent, so platform dependent is nothing but what we can say here. So combination of operating system plus any processor. The combination of operating system plus any processor. So that means if I want to take here only one operating system supportable. Okay, only one operating system supportable. So one operating system with the combination of any processor we called as it is a dependent. Okay, so the best example what we can say here, our SQL server. Our SQL server is a best example for pure platform dependent product. So this is how Oracle is a independent product and this is SQL server is a dependent product, because SQL server I already said to you, SQL server will run only Windows operating system. Okay, but other than Windows operating system, if you go to any other operating systems, then it is never supported. So by this reason we call it is a pure platform dependent product, and your Oracle will support any operating system. That's why we called as it is a pure platform independent products. So this is we called what exactly platform, and platform how we can define and how many types of platforms are there. Okay, by seeing this diagram then we can understand that our SQL server. So now tell me, our SQL server is a independent or dependent? So it is a pure dependent product. So what we said here, it is a platform independent and dependent. Okay, so this is one of the point in your SQL server, what exactly SQL server. Okay, but here in this SQL server we have one more advantage was there in database. So what kind of advantage and what kind of feature was there here? Observe. Okay, SQL server will provide, so another the best facility, okay, what is here, it will provide GUI facilities. Okay, it will provide what now? GUI facilities. So SQL server will provide more GUI facilities to the user to perform database operations. Okay, so GUI facilities means, you know, okay, there are two kind of user interfaces are there in real time. Okay, so what are those here? For example, you can come out and see, so user interfaces, I can say simply user interface is nothing but when user want to interact. So whenever I want to interact with my server, I must and should be need one user interface application. Okay, through this application the user going to interacting with your servers. Okay, but these user interfaces, okay, how many types here? The two types. One is a CUI, that means character user interface, and second one we called as a GUI, graphical user interface. So character and graphicals. Okay, so characters is nothing but everything, every operation in my database, whatever the operations I am going to perform, like creating table, inserting data, updating data, deleting data. So these kind of operations, whatever you want to perform in my database, okay, those operations I can perform by using query. Perform by using query. or query statement, then it is called as simply CUI based operations we called. Okay, but the same operation whatever I am going to perform, the same operations I am going to perform without query. Without query, if the same operation creating table, inserting data, updating data, deleting data, this kind of operations, if I perform without writing query, then it is called as a GUI based operations. Okay, so GUI and CUI. So CUI based operations are nothing but with query through. If user want to perform any operation in the database, then it is called a CUI application or CUI environment we called. In the same to same, the same operation without query, if user perform in the database, then it is called a GUI operations, otherwise graphical user interface we called. Okay, but in this the two kind of facilities was provided by your SQL Server. But when we want to compare to other databases, for example Oracle, MySQL, for compared to other databases, SQL Server will provide more GUI facilities, to the user, and through this facility the user can perform some database operations. I can perform some database operations. Those operations simply we called like so for example creating a new table. Okay, otherwise later I can go to inserting or insert data, otherwise I can go for update my data, otherwise you can go for delete my data, and next select data. So these kind of some database operations if you perform without query, then I am going to using here GUI application or GUI environment, I can use it. Okay, but the same operation if I want to perform by using query through, then it is called as a CUI. But you don't have a question like so which one is better, CUI or GUI? Okay, so never ask this question which environment I can use when I am going to develop. Okay, so it is a depend on the situation, depend on the requirement, depend on the client requirement, or depend on the company requirement. Okay, the people are using CUI or GUI, but both are same to same mechanisms, same to same operations I can do it. But the thing is simple, I can say where I can use GUI means whenever, okay, if you want to write the complicated queries, okay, if you want to write the lengthy query, if you want to write, in place of that simply I can go to use my GUI. Okay, but GUI, CUI, what is the difference means nothing difference I can say, but there we are writing queries, here we didn't write any query. So without query we are performing operation means automatically time saving, yes or no, but the operation will be performed with query means it is a time consuming. The simple I can say. So the development of application through CUI, it is a time consuming process. But the same to same I can develop my application through GUI, there is a time saving because I am not writing any query statements and commands. Okay, so in that way only you want to choose either CUI or GUI, but it is don't ask like this which one is better, which one is not better, yes or no. We can't say as per the time premises or the time bound you can use GUI or CUI, that's a depend on the requirement of the company or client, yes or no. So that what we called here. So GUI, but SQL Server what I am saying here, not only GUI, SQL Server even though provides CUI also. Okay, but what I am asking here and what I am saying here, SQL Server when we want to compare with Oracle and other databases, it is a more GUI facilities will be provided. Okay, that is the one point should be remembered. Okay, so but even though you can perform your operations by using CUI also. Okay, so the two things, that means CUI and GUI, these two applications, that means two environments I am going to showing in the development part. Okay, so how to create my table and perform your database operations by using CUI based environment, and also same operations I will show you along with your GUI based environment. At the time you will be identify what is the difference. The difference was nothing. Okay, but even though when you see the practical thing, then you can understand that is there any difference or not. Okay, so this is one more the point and future in SQL Server. So what exactly SQL Server, which was comes under introduction part. Okay, so later on in the next session, okay, we will see the SQL Server, how many types of versions are there. That means as of now there are so many versions are released by Microsoft company, okay, from 1989 to and recently 2016, yes or no, but those versions what it is, and we will discuss on which version we are going to working. Okay, in this sessions what we are going to watching here, okay, in these sessions we will go to discuss, okay, the which version, on which version we are going to implementing our query processing and queries where we can write yes or no. This is all we can check out, but before that I will give it some list out, the what kind of versions are there up to now. The Microsoft company was released how many versions, that versions we will check out in the next video session. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video.